today. Christina, Bob, Brian, Glenn joining you once again in the great state of Arizona, and we have got some business to talk about today. Now, if we go back, Christina, and look at what the True the Vote people have done over the last 18 months, it is remarkable the amount of information they were able to uncover. And we'll talk a little bit about that, but we're also going to talk about what we're going to hear today in the latest developments, which we don't even know at this point exactly what they're going to be showing today. So it's important for our viewers to know as you learn it will be at the same time as we learn it.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see the information that they've got. I know True the Vote has been working really, really hard at uncovering a lot of the election fraud, but they also basically are just national security experts. And I believe that the presentation today is going to be focused on a national security element. Maybe there might be some election stuff in there, but I don't know. I think it tends to not lean towards elections. So I'm very curious to see what they've got. I know Catherine Engelbrecht, Greg Phillips, they started this organization, I want to say about 10 to 14 years ago. I believe they started in 2008, and they've just been digging and digging and digging and working. And I know that the work has just come to light recently in the last 2 years, but they have been working on this for years and years and years. And can I say, thank God they have been, because a lot of us are a little late to the game, myself included. I joined this fight November 3rd, 2020, and realizing that there was a problem with elections and a lot of the corruption in our government. Thank God that Catherine Engelbrecht and Greg Phillips saw this way before most of us did and started putting the work in years and years ago.
And we talked about that on the drive out here, about how important it was and how it all started. And of course, we'll have Catherine on here in a few minutes to kind of set the stage of what we can continue to see throughout this day. But they're going to lay out, it's a strategy, it's a very vital strategy workshop. And I say workshop in the terms of you're going to learn about things that we can, I guess, put in place to protect the vote and protect the fact that we need to have safe and secure elections, but we also need to protect this country against the cyber attacks that are coming against us. So you're going to learn a lot today, and we're glad you're joining us. And I'm telling you right now, if there's ever a link to share, if there's a Facebook post or some other platform you need to post up to say, hey, you need to tune into this right now, because this is the next shoe that drops in terms of what the hell happened on November 3rd of 2020 and how we move forward for that. We're going to have both Greg, we have Mark Fincham here as well. We'll bring him here in just a second. But let's talk about the latest news that everyone has been talking about right now, and that is the FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago there down in Florida. Being Trump's attorney, you got the message early on that was going to happen. You made your way down there. You've been all over the media talking about it. But what can you bring to us right now? What's the very latest from what's going on?
Well, I didn't get the message until the FBI was already there raiding. So I was one of the first ones on site. But I mean, let's be very clear about this. This was a political attack. It was driven by politics, not by any hard evidence, not by a lack of cooperation, not by any other reason other than Joe Biden and the Obama-Biden administration politicized the Department of Justice, and now we're seeing the consequences. We're seeing conservatives like Rudy Giuliani, Victoria Tanzang, Peter Navarro, Steve Bannon. There's a whole host that are the targets of government and of oppressive investigations, and we're not seeing the same on the Democrat side. This is very much a political action where we see the government just targeting their political opponents. It's dangerous. It's un-American, and it needs to stop. And I've got to say, I know that this meeting here today with True the Vote was planned in advance. They knew nothing about the raid on Mar-a-Lago, but the timing of it is so profound, because if ever we needed the information that they're going to present today, it's today. It's right now. And I think Americans are awake. Americans are seeing the dangers of an overpowering government and what they can do to prevent that, to take care of our government ourselves. We need Americans to wake up and get involved and take back our government, and we're going to learn how to do some of that today.
We are. I want to see if we can bring in Catherine and Greg, if they can spend a few minutes. I know they've got a very, get you right here, a very busy day planned. Let's see if we get in here. First of all, thanks for having us here. I know right side, we are committed. Christina's committed to sharing the truth and getting the truth out about what's going on in our country right now. What can you tease a little bit for our viewers that are watching us right now? We're very transparent. We don't know what we're going to hear. Our viewers obviously don't know what they're going to hear, but what can we kind of tease them with today?
I think there are going to be three main sections. First thing, sort of broadly, we're going to talk about unity. This movement is way too divided, way too bifurcated by all sorts of nonsense. So we're going to talk a lot about unity. We're going to talk about sort of tying off on the 2,000 Mules, 18 months worth of research and work, and just give it to the people and let them have at it. And then we're going to jump into something we're calling our Ground Fusion Center. It basically building out a giant data center for election intelligence. We're going to give citizen researchers tools they've never seen before, data they've never seen before, and then the afternoon, super exciting.
Yeah, and the afternoon is where it all comes together, because we have a very real enemy that is inside our gates, and that is a global communist movement that we've got to take very, very seriously. And so we're going to call it out, and we're going to put a plan together, and we're going to go.
Yeah, we're going to go, and of course we want to be transparent. There are portions of this broadcast towards the very end that we're going to have to dip out of it live. Now, you will still see it at a future date, but because security purposes and the sensitivity of what we're going to show, we just cannot broadcast it live.
That's exactly right. This is such an exciting day. I mean, we had a little event last night where we got to meet everyone, and I spoke to them, and I mean, the people are it's visceral. You can feel it. I mean, this movement is alive now, and thanks to Catherine, 12 years of hard work on the front lines, and you know, much of it is culminating into here today, and it's going to ignite people. What they learned today is going to ignite people.
I want to bring Christine in real quick. We were just talking about the backstory of how you guys started. I'm going to bring you in because I really want you to guide us through that. We have so much respect for what they've done, and you've been working with voter integrity and the election since November 3. You always say, you know, I got in the game the day after the election, late in the game. But how important is it that we have this type of event today, right now, post all of the things that have been going on in our country?
Well, it's essential, and I know that Catherine and I have talked about this. I said just moments ago that I was late. I got in the game when everybody could see the problem, when the problem was obvious, but you guys started this long before anybody else can see. And the sense that I get, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, is that what we're about to see today is the next thing that people can't yet see. So this is like if we got to see what was going to happen in 2020, the election for 2020, if we got to see it in 2018, would we take different steps? Would we act differently? And that's the impression I get, that this is the next threat facing our country.
That's exactly right. What happened in 2020 didn't need to happen, but we weren't organized and we weren't prepared, and so today much of the conversation is going to be about how to avoid that repeat. But then we're very definitely leveling up, because the enemy that we face, there's no more time to gild the lily. We have got to get busy about very specific things going on locally. And you know, you don't need to boil the ocean, just work locally in your elections, and we'll all roll up. But there's a plan to do that, and we've got to stay focused. We're talking about saving the country here. I mean, this is big stuff, but it's for such a time, and so stick around.
Yes, I love that. Stick around. That's a great tease. Stick around, and of course, share this broadcast. Tell your friends. I said this earlier. We need to get as much eyeballs on this as possible, because everyone at home has their, you got the force multiplier there. Everyone shares the broadcast, tags a friend, says, "Hey, I don't know what you're doing this Saturday, but you need to tune in to listen to what we have to say."
Yeah, we had I think a really good pregame show here in Arizona. A week or so ago. Yeah. What the Lake campaign did to prepare for election integrity problems in advance, working with nonprofits, working with community folks, and really putting together a plan so that as things began to unfold during the election, not only did we have eyes on, but everybody's like, okay, well, this happened, now we're going to do this. So we had contingency plans. Everybody was paying attention. We had eyes on so many of not just the precincts, but really the processes. And as Catherine always says, look, they beat us at process every time, and they're cheating at that process level. And so if we can get eyes on that process like we did here in Arizona this week or so ago, man, that's a home run.
We were glad. I'll let you guys go. I know you guys got a lot of people coming here. We have a big crowd expected to come here. We don't have to talk about who's going to be here, but the people in attendance were invited. It was invite only, very secure facility. No one knows where we're at, which is important. But the people coming, that's their job, to take this information when this is done and blast it out across all of their respective platforms.
That's it. We looked long and hard at people that were out there with a record of telling the truth and being fearless, and those folks were invited here today. And thank you guys for coming. I mean, you're part of that telling of the truth, and we couldn't do it without you.
God bless. We appreciate being here. I love the fact that we've got some people saying some prayers around this venue, which I think is so important, because this is an attack. This is a demonic attack on our country. And those that might be laughing at all of that, going, these people are crazy, it's conspiracy theory. Well, all these conspiracy theories, Greg, have all turned out to be true. And this is indeed an attack, a moral attack on our country.
It's absolutely spiritual warfare. Yesterday when we were out here setting up, we had a flash flood warning. We had a massive dust storm. We've had all sorts of other issues going in and around all of this. And you know, we sort of half expected there to be locusts and plagues next.
Or internet issues, which we never know that as well. And we know a little something about that every time we talk about an event like this. So we're glad you're here. But the power is now in your hand to tag, share a friend, get this broadcast going. We're going to kick this thing off at about 9 o'clock Mountain Time. That's 12 noon Eastern. So you've got a little bit of time to get everything organized. I just saw Carrie Lake walk in the door, so I'm glad she's here. Maybe we'll have a few minutes with her. But thank you so much for having us here, because you guys are truly saving this country. We are big fans of you guys, obviously.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Love you guys. All right, so there you go. Before we kind of get started, we'll talk to Carrie Lake in just a second. I want to talk about our friends over at the Birch Gold Group. It is so important right now that we support companies that are supporting conservative values. And when you look at the economy, you look at the global collapse that's going on right now, you look at the housing market in China, the dollar across the world, the devaluation of the dollar, the stock market. We've had some of the worst 6 months start on some of these indexes. I just want to tell you right now, you got to support the Birch Gold Group. They've got a wonderful way to get that information kit to you. The information is on your screen. Text to the number and be a part of saving your retirement, and perhaps investing in precious metals and gold is the right thing to do there. The Birch Gold Group, support them, as they are a big supporter of conservative movements as well. We'll get to Mark Finchman in just a second, but I want to bring in the great Carrie Lake, who we just talked about these elections, and the camera's way up there right now for us, way up there for. We were just talking about how important it was that these elections, and we were on top of it on election night just a couple of weeks ago here in the great state of Arizona, that we make sure that elections are protected. We make sure our country is secure, and that's exactly what we're trying to do right here today.
I'm really excited. You know, Catherine and Greg put so much work into uncovering some of the problems we have with 2020 election. You know, when I first got into this, people were like, don't talk about the election. It was taboo. And I said, no, I didn't get into politics to not talk about the issues that people care about, and they care about the election. And I'm just so honored that they would invite us here today, show us some of the evidence they have. The real point of today is going forward, how do we make sure this next election is secure? Will we have it all solved? No, I don't think we will. But can we keep an eye out for certain things that could happen to prevent another corrupt election? And that's what it's about, because then when we get in office, we're going to make sure that we have honest elections.
We'll walk us back a couple of weeks ago. You took every county in the state of Arizona. That's remarkable, you know, and a lot of people, the polls and some of the doubters out there was like, it's not going to happen. You're up against a major swamp, a 26 million major swamp. You took every county. That's amazing.
I'm so happy. It's really a movement here in Arizona. We ended up winning, by the way. They were still counting ballots. You know how that goes. They count forever. And we ended up winning by almost 5 points. That's a significant win, especially considering the fact that we had 26 million, lobbed at us over and over with attack ads and such. But we won every county in Arizona, 15 counties. And that's because the people of Arizona are they're in this movement with me. It's not about me. It's about the people of Arizona realizing that we need to elect people into office who are truly going to represent the people. Isn't that a novel idea? Yeah. That's how it was designed.
Having gone through the primary, I know you still have your general election, but should you become the governor of Arizona, just having been through the primary and the process so far, what would you want to see as the governor changes made to the election process?
I would really like to see that we go back to election day. I know that sounds very old school. I'm from an era where we used to have election day, and we go to paper ballots on election day, and smaller precincts so we can count those. And the precincts, when they're small, you can actually spot fraud easier, and you can count ballots faster. And we go to where at that night we have results, and people can live with it. Whether your guy won or lost, you can live with it because you saw it play out and you know it was fair. But when we have 27 days of voting, early ballots dumping out, people receiving 6 and 7 ballots in their home for people who don't even live there, we got problems. And we had major problems here in Pinal County where they put out 63,000 ballots, early ballots that went out that didn't even have certain candidates on there for certain races. So they had major problems there. And then 1 hour into election day voting, they ran out of Republican ballots. We got problems still. And I don't care what you say, we still have problems with our election, and we're going to fix them. So when I'm governor, it's going to be a top priority. We get the legislature together, we shore up our laws and make sure that we can't cheat. There's no cheating anymore. And now, actually, the beautiful thing, Christina, is because all the investigations that have happened, we know where the loopholes are. We know where the problems are. So we can just find those problems, make sure we set up a system where we can't, those areas where they cheated, they can't do that again.
Can't do that again. Okay, real quick before I wrap you up, because we've got people coming in here now. A week ago, you took the stage right before President Trump. You were the final speaker before President Trump. What an honor that is, once again, to share the stage with the greatest president of our generation.
He's the greatest. I mean, he walked so we could run. He taught us how to fight. He opened our eyes to the corruption in our government, and I am looking forward to, I hope he announces he's going to run soon, because I will be obviously firmly behind him. We need another term with Donald J. Trump to really clean things up and get our government back on track, and I'm so excited.
Best website for people to get more information, not only to get more information, but to give. This is a grassroots campaign. You do not take all the big money that's been thrown at you. How can people donate?
Thank you, because we had a bruising primary. Our coffers were emptied. We need to fill them back up to beat Katie Hobbs, who's a socialist. And you can go to karilake.com, KARILAKE.com, and you can find out where I stand on the issues as well.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you. It's good to see you too, and I'm so glad that you're here. And we're going to learn a lot today as this unfolds. As you can probably see, people have come in right now, making their way into. This is what we're all waiting for here. And so I want to bring in one more last guest. We'll see if we can shift over a little bit, maybe to get out of the way. Now, come on, Christina, come over here. I'm just trying to shift away where people can come in. Is Mark Fincham joining us? How big is this guy in terms of the state of Arizona and turning things around?
Well, he was the first one, the original one, to come out and say, hey, I think we have a problem in our election. And he held that hearing on November 30th, 2020. Within the same month of the election, he said, let's take a look at the evidence. And I think that seems to be, you gained a following from that hearing and moving forward. And I think, did you have the widest victory margin in your primary of the Trump endorsed candidates?
Yeah, right now it looks like we had a 21-point margin.
That's amazing.
Between myself and 3 other candidates in the field. And we won every county as well. So I think we can claim it's a mandate. People want to have election security and election integrity, and they're looking for somebody who will make sure that happens. Yeah.
And just to clarify, you're running for Secretary of State here in Arizona. You decisively won your primary, up for the general now. So what has to happen between now and your general election?
Well, I am the nominee for the Republican Party, and basically we have to raise $2.5 million to go against the Democrat machine.
As everyone's trying to fight the Democrat machine. Well, we've got people in here. How excited are you to be here today? I know that there was it's a very specialized guest list. There's only people that really we know what their good intentions are, because there's some bad apples that will try to infiltrate something like this and put out some misinformation. But how proud are you to be a part of this?
I'm honored to be invited. This is an invitation only to be present. The fact that RSBN is carrying this so that everybody can see the same thing that we're seeing, I think, is extremely important. Thank you. This is, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. Thank God for your network to get the word out to the people that they're not going to see anyplace else. They're just not going to see it. So thank you very much for what you're doing.
Thank you, Mark.
And what do you expect to see today? What are some of the things that you're hoping come out? Because this has been pretty closely held. Not a lot of people know what's happening.
I talked to Greg Phillips quite some time ago, and he basically said, well, stay tuned, this was months ago, for a 20 megaton atom bomb. Okay, so I think this is the opportunity for us to all see the receipts. we're going to see the receipts, and we're going to see full disclosure of what they have found on a broad scale and the depth of it, that we have a serious problem, America. And I'm glad that Arizona is the venue for this. I'm glad that they've recognized we really are the epicenter of what's going on.
We are. Mark Fincham, the great Mark Fincham. How can people get more information on the general race and, more importantly, donate, because we know it takes a little bit of money to make things go around?
So they can go to votefincham.com. That's VOTE, F like Frank, IN like Nancy, CHEM.com. You can click the news button, you can click on the donate button, but yeah, that's not an exaggeration. We got to raise $2.5 million in the next 90 days.
Yeah, we can save this country. November 8th is probably one of the most important dates that you should put on your calendar, and it all starts here in Arizona. Mark Fincham, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, it's Christina, Bob, Brian, Glenn. Are we reporting live here from Arizona? Very just undisclosed place. Should we get on stage? Maybe let's go ahead and elevate ourselves right now, because of the fact that a lot of people are walking in front of us. So I'm just going to move over here just a little bit. Maybe it gives people. Now we got the air conditioning blowing us right now, but this is so important right now. And when you look at the impact, thank you very much, that the 2000 Mules documentary had on not only our culture, but to open up the eyes of a lot of Americans that had never really thought to get involved. They always thought our elections were safe and secure because the media has always told them that they're safe and secure. So it wasn't until 2000 Mules which opened people's eyes. This is the next broadcast that will do that.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And I think 2000 Mules kind of put to bed the idea that, oh, everything's fine, there's no problems, nobody cheats, our elections are secure. And I'm very eager to see what they have today, because I don't actually think they're focused on the elections today. True the Vote is known for their role in election integrity, and of course I follow their work closely, but they do a lot more than that. And so I think what we're going to see today is much broader than just election integrity. And if it's half of what 2000 Mules is, I think a lot of people, a lot of the American public are going to go, holy cow, I have got to get involved. And as Catherine said earlier when we were talking to her, it starts at the local level. It actually starts and ends at the local level, because if you clean up your local elections and your local offices, by default, it's going to go up the chain. So get involved, stay active, make sure you inform yourself. If you're watching this broadcast, I would imagine that you're probably well informed. So yeah, I look forward to seeing the information.
Now, I know that the official start time here is at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, 12 Eastern. So we're about the start time, but the people are still being bussed in here, and that's what it is. I mean, this is such a secure event that people are being bussed to this particular location. So it's all kind of controlled. So it may take a little bit of time for people to get off the buses, come in here, get situated, find their seat, get some coffee, sit down, things like that. So from what I understand, the rundown, there are going to be several speakers, obviously, but we're going to see some extra videos as well. So there'll be a video element into this presentation that we'll be able to have for you as well. So you've got speaker-driven content, you got video-driven content, but like Greg and Catherine said earlier, it's more about enabling people to go out and make a difference in their community, because we've got to save this country, and it really starts with the awareness that it's going on in the first place. How do you know what to save if you don't believe it's going on? So hopefully today will inspire people to get involved.
I think it will, and I think that it emphasizes the importance of True the Vote. And keep in mind, True the Vote has a big name now, and they're recognized now, and everybody loves them for 2000 Mules. But they have been doing this work for years and years and years. And so I think this emphasizes that we, the American public, are really just starting to recognize who they are. They worked long and hard, long before anybody knew who they were or anybody cared what they were doing. They were working. And I say that because there's many people out there that are aware of a problem in their community or in this country that they think they can solve, or at least play a part in solving, but they think, oh, it's going to take so long, It might take that long, but do the work, put in the work, get it done. And just like True the Vote, your work speaks for itself, and it has the desired impact. You know, as long as you work hard with excellence the way that True the Vote does. I encourage everybody, regardless of how long or hard you think that effort is going to take, and you might be surprised, it might actually go a lot faster, especially now that there are so many people involved and so many people paying attention. I think we're going to see things turn around a lot faster than what it has taken in the past.
Okay. Also, if you missed the, how you doing? Quick announcement for everyone to sit here. If you missed the update on what happened at Mar-a-Lago, the FBI raid, Christina Bobb, Trump attorney, Save America, you were there. Let's just give our viewers a recap if they miss it at the top of the show. What's the very latest on the raid by the FBI on Mar-a-Lago?
Well, the very latest is that Democrats have taken over the Department of Justice, and they are forcing an agenda, and they are using authoritarian measures to do it. I mean, that's the short story. We're waiting to see what the probable cause was. The affidavit is sealed. The warrant's out. You can see the items that were seized and what they were looking for. It's pretty broad and fairly vague. But yeah, I mean, the latest is we have a very serious problem with government overreach and the Biden administration taking authoritarian steps to dictate reality when there was absolutely no reason whatsoever for them to force their way and raid Mar-a-Lago. It's a travesty. It's never happened before in the history of this country. And we are still waiting for answers nearly a week later. They have not provided they haven't provided any justification, let alone something that suffices.
A very weak warrant is what you can say. And I think that they're quickly finding out that it was all a pile of smoking hot garbage, and I think that the FBI is going to have to be prepared for a public kickback. I mean, in the court of public opinion here, the FBI is about as low as you get right now, and that's not you saying it, that's not me saying, that is the public opinion of the FBI, because we have seen so many things go down under the Biden administration, under Hillary Clinton, and they have turned a blind eye to all of that.
Well, we've heard so many people say, oh, if it can happen to Donald Trump, it can happen to anybody. It has been happening to the anybody's. Donald Trump is he's the end of the line. There's nobody past Donald Trump that can stop this from getting out of control and can stop it from going further. If they're doing this to Donald Trump, it's because they're doing it to other people. Like I said, we've seen Rudy Giuliani, Peter Navarro, Victoria Toensing, Steve Bannon, a whole host of very strong conservative people in our nation that have all experienced the wrath of the Department of Justice or the FBI for no legitimate reason. And so, I think it's time that we voice our opinion, make our opinions known. I think the American people are doing a good job in responding with shock and outrage at how such a fundamental constitutional right could be trampled on seemingly without regard by the Department of Justice.
Yeah, it's really bizarre, and I think all of us woke up on that morning and saw exactly what happened and couldn't believe that Mar-a-Lago was being invaded. And that's exactly what it was. And mind you, even with the invasion of Roger Stone, amphibious team, and you have dozens of armed, FBI agents. This is over. This is for political theater, is what this is. This is all political theater to already paint the picture in Americans' mind that President Trump has whatever secret nuclear documents, or whatever they claim they want to make up he has. To violate him from going forward.
Well, and let's be clear about this silly nuclear document case. This claim came out days after the raid. It was like they needed time to think of it. Like, why did we do this? Oh, let's come up with a reason that will scare everybody into believing that the raid was legitimate. It was not. There was not a single piece of classified information that Donald Trump had taken with him. He had declassified everything when he left the White House. And for them to now think that it's appropriate and they could get away with it without substantial justification, it just goes to show the mindset, the warped mindset that they believe they just have absolute control and absolute power. And they don't, and they shouldn't, and we need to push back.
There you go. We got to push back on it. If you're just now joining us, thank you for tuning in. This is a very important broadcast today. We have about 180 people in this room. It's a special VIP invite only. We are, if I'm not mistaken, the exclusive stream on this. I believe this might be pushed out on a True the Vote at another time. But right now is where you need to be. And so while we get started, tag a friend, share this broadcast, because today it could be once again a historic day in terms of finding out exactly the type of terrorism that's going on in our country right now.
I think it's important that the people, this is a great example that the people are stepping up and saying, I'm going to get informed, I'm going to do what I need to do. Yes, this was invite only, but a lot of the people that are here are people that became who they are after the election and after they saw the problem and they stepped up and said, I want to speak out. and they're known trusted voices, people that Catherine and Greg both feel like they can be trusted with this information, they can be trusted with the privacy and the secrecy of this location. And I think it's just a great example that Americans are stepping up and saying, we're taking our country back. We have sat idly by for too long while crazy radicals have taken over every area of our government, whether it's school boards, whether it's the FBI, the Department of Justice, everything. And no more. We're not going to stand for it. And this information that we're going to get today will help arm all of us to understand what we need to do in order to make true progress in the United States.
Yeah, if we don't save our elections, we don't have a country. We've said that so many times. If we don't save our elections, we don't secure our border, we don't put the power back in the hands of the people instead of the elitists in D.C., then we don't have a country. So that's why we choose to do segments like this. And because, I mean, Christina, if we don't save this country, we don't have a network. We don't have a network. So this,
and it's more than the network. Of course, we don't want the network to go down, but it's freedom of speech. To your point, is the reason you wouldn't have a network is because they would have censored freedom of speech, conservatives. Anybody who wants to oppose this authoritarian regime is going to be silenced, ridiculed, pushed out, potentially prosecuted based on some of the things we're seeing now. So our fundamental freedoms against unlawful search and seizure. We saw, a horrific atrocity this week when they raided President Trump's home. That's a fundamental right that's enshrined in our Bill of Rights. And it's at risk now. So it's really important that we arm ourselves with information, which is what Catherine and Greg are doing. And I'm excited to see what they've got. Well, we all take it. We all try to figure out, what we can do, what role we play. And everybody needs to go to wherever your sphere of influence is and just make a difference. Do something that matters.
Yeah, there you go. We're also remind everybody to go to our website to sign up for our newsletter, rspnetwork.com. Click on the newsletter, sign up, name, email address. You won't get bombed, a bunch of stuff. I want to make sure we're not breaking up the flow of the show whenever we need to wrap it up. Are you about to get this thing started?
We're going to get started here in about 2 minutes.
2 minutes. There we go. We got 2 minutes for everyone to. I know, I love it. I mean, well, we knew this many people would show up, but. Yeah, you got to get a picture of this crowd. But we got a couple minutes before the show is going to start. I just want to remind everybody to please go to our website, subscribe to our newsletter, download our app either on your Apple, your Android store. It's absolutely free of charge, and that is one of the best ways to stay informed of what's going on today in our country. Programming note, tomorrow we are going to stay here in the great state of Arizona for a Trump-backed rally for Kari Lake and Blake Masters, which I am excited to have that as well.
Sorry.
I'm just saying, we got tomorrow a rally for Kari Lake and Blake Masters, which is great.
And I think the rallies are only going to grow and get bigger the more that the crazy Democrats out themselves as the radical activists that they are. I think it's waking up more and more people are saying that they want to get involved and be a part of this. I expect the rally to be a huge success, and I can't wait. I don't know when or where it's going to be, but I can't wait for President Donald Trump's next rally. I think there's going to be a lot of people who show up to show support for him and that show our love as a nation, how much we love him, not just for who he is, but for everything that he's done for this country and everything that he continues to do for this country. I mean, if you think about, he's a former president, right? He's a former president, and yet he has had so much impact even out of office. Yeah. So I think America loves him, and I can't wait to see.
I can't wait to see it either. All right, we're going to step aside because it looks like we're about to start this thing. Thank you so much for having us again. God bless. Have a great show. Everybody, we're live. Stay tuned for the pit here in Arizona.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm excited to announce my new product, My Coffee. I get products all the time from entrepreneurs for my new platform, mystore.com. And when I tried My Coffee for the first time, I was blown away. It is the best coffee I've ever had in my life. I spent the last 4 months doing my due diligence, and this family-owned business micromanages every step from the fields to the cup to ensure the best quality coffee you're ever going to have. It starts with the beans that are grown in Honduras. Honduras's volcanic soil and humid climate make the perfect growing conditions for coffee plants, which produce the best beans ever. Then each batch is tested for its aroma, taste, and other aspects to meet the highest standards in the coffee industry. And after that, it goes into production, which is all done right here in the USA. It's like you're getting that small batch specialty coffee, but delivered right to your front door. So go to mystore.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code and you'll get your very own My Coffee for 25% off. You guys all know that I've traveled the country for the past year and a half. I've stayed in hundreds of hotels. I've tried every coffee out there. Well, some of the
With
coffee...
me so we can pray. God, we come to you with a sober heart today, but with absolute resolve. I thank you that you have raised up Greg and you have raised up Catherine and you have raised up so many people and patriots in this room and that couldn't be in this room today as citizen activists, citizen investigators, citizen legislators, people who are salt and light. And God, I proclaim Psalm 7, Psalm 94, that the enemy who has dug a pit or set a trap, it would boomerang and it would fall back on them. I thank you that you have raised up Catherine and Greg for such a time as this. God, that just like Esther and Mordecai, that the spirit of Haman that's out there, this Marxist spirit, this communist spirit that's trying to destroy our nation and destroy our families, they would hang on the own gallows that they built, the jail cells that they built, the trap that they set. And we thank you, God, that you would set at peace everybody who is working for you. We thank you that you have that type of authority. We don't. We ask that your kingdom would come in everything that we do. I pray that every person in here would be protected spiritually, mentally, and physically, and particularly Greg, Catherine, the people at the tip of the spear. God, that you would set them at peace. You would set them in calmness in the midst of and you would make a table for them in the presence of their enemies. God, I thank you that truth always overwhelms darkness. I thank you that light always conquers darkness. And I thank you, God, that you will give us the spirit to endure and not quit. If we do not grow weary in well-doing, we will reap a harvest. We ask that your Holy Spirit would fall, your power would fall, your word would live in us. And God, that each and every one of us would do what you've called us uniquely to do in the name of Jesus. Would you please say the pledge with me? I pledge allegiance Thank you very much.
Okay, and now we give you the Arizona nominee for governor and America's governor, Kari Lake.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. Greg, you really know how to throw a party. This is great. Welcome to Arizona, ground zero for everything, right? We're ground zero for elections. We're ground zero for the border. We are literally in the middle of it all. And I'm so glad that you've all come here. I'm so glad that Greg and Catherine decided to hold this very important event here. I got into politics, I kind of fell into it a little over a year ago when the people of Arizona asked me to run for office. Of course, I thought, they must think I'm crazy. Seriously? I just left the world, the corrupt world of media, and people were telling me to go into the even more corrupt world of politics. They must think I'm insane. But we did it. This is exactly what our founding fathers envisioned. Real people stepping forward, getting involved. And I think that's why each and every one of us are here. We have created a movement in Arizona. I'm just the face and voice behind it, but it really is we the people in Arizona. We just beat a behemoth in the primary. We accomplished something huge. I still can't believe it. And by the way, that was not a slim victory. We won by almost 5 points, guys. Did you know that? They dragged it out, but we did it, and I couldn't have done it without the good people of Arizona. We won all 15 counties. We are going to finally return our government to the people, which is where it belongs, here in Arizona. So I just want to welcome you here today. I don't know what we're going to find out. I'm excited about it. I want to thank Greg and Catherine for putting everything on the line. I know how dangerous this world is, and when you are speaking the truth, you've got a target on you. And I think all of us have targets on us. And that's why it's so important we get the truth out. So I'm looking forward to finding out what we see today. I'm looking forward to coming together as a country, as a state. They want us all at each other's throats. They want to get even the Republicans fighting. And I'm not going to let them do that. There's no war between us on this side, on the side of truth. We are united, and we are united to get to the bottom of what went wrong in our elections because we want honest elections. When I'm elected governor, and hopefully we unveil a few things today to make sure we don't have corrupt elections too bad. We can handle a little bit of it, but when I'm governor, we're going to fix it all. It'll be easy to vote, impossible to cheat, and we will show the rest of the country how it's done. So thank you for being here. I love each and every one of you, and let's get to the meat and potatoes.
That's awesome.
When we first started with Mules, you good? All right. When we first started with Mules, everybody on the planet has asked me, how did you guys come up with the idea? When you first started talking about how do you take something that is as evil as these people have turned it into and turn it into something good? The truth of the matter is that our next speaker, Eli Crane, is the answer. Eli has an incredible story to tell about his history, about his background. He was a SEAL team guy, a businessman, a Christian, a dad, a wonderful husband to his beautiful wife. And Eli, at one point when I had a little bit of a dark time going on in my world, Eli encouraged me to do something that was really hard for me to do. And that was not just to rely on my friends, but to take evil and turn it to good. And with that, my friend Eli Crane.
All right, thanks for coming out today, guys. It's an honor to be here. Greg, Catherine, and everybody at True the Vote. Thank you guys so much for what you've done. I know that you guys have been working on election integrity when most of us weren't paying attention to it. I know you guys have had to be extremely resilient to do what you've done, and I think it's pretty amazing what you guys have accomplished. And this room full of patriots is evidence